Burbank. Dead.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Scientist Mel is gonna be on Johnny DriveBYE's channel on Monday night. She'll be here at like 7 o'clock. It's gonna be a 3-hour show, everybody. It starts at 5. Prophet of Zod. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Hey, FurLuck, you hear that?
Hello, people. I have some good news. Yes, indeed, I do. But first, I would like to speak dog to Strike Force. Please, on Monday night, could you let Mel get off early? Johnny would be so happy if you did that for him. Indeed. What is it that makes a good response video? Well, it is critical thinking and the scientific method. That is why I am so excited to be officially announcing for Johnny DriveBYE that Scientist Mel will be visiting his channel on his first heathen hideout. You've got to come and see. Not too long ago, Johnny responded to Friended Forever's video, Anti-Theism. Friended Forever thinks that he has science in his argument. Johnny does not think that his argument is scientifically rigorous. Using statistics doesn't make a field scientifically rigorous. Baseball players and gamblers use statistics every day. They are not scientists. Even using extremely complicated math and statistics doesn't make a field scientific. First is clearly defined terminology. Science should not use ambiguous terminology or words with arbitrary definitions. Microbiologists all agree on what constitutes a cell, and chemists all agree on what constitutes a molecule. But this is not always the case in other fields. How does one precisely define particular political ideology? Or life satisfaction? Or sexism? These ideas, though commonly studied in other fields, have vague definitions that can change over time, across geography, or even between cultures. Second is Quantify Ability. Rigorous science is quantifiable. Planets are measured in density and orbital velocity. Toxicity is measured in lethal dosages. But how do you measure happiness? Can a person put a reliable number on how happy he is feeling today? Lord Kelvin expressed the importance of measurability when he said, "I often say that when you can measure what you are speaking about and express it in numbers, you know something about it. But when you cannot express it in numbers, your knowledge of a meager and unsatisfactory kind, it may be the beginning of knowledge, but you have scarcely in your thoughts advanced to the stage of science, whatever the matter may be." The mathematically intense field of economics is largely preoccupied with determining correlation and causation. In order to do so, economists employ a statistical technique, multiple regression analysis, which is every bit as complicated as it sounds. But as the authors of Freakonomics write, regression analysis is more art than science. Thirdly, we have highly controlled conditions. This is probably the most important characteristic, and it is precisely here where many fields fall short. A scientifically rigorous study maintains direct control over as many of the factors that influence the outcome as possible. The experiment is then performed with such precision that any other person in the world using identical materials and methods should achieve the exact same result. A scientist testing bacterial growth in France should get the same result as a microbiologist in Australia. The ability to create highly controlled conditions is simply non-existent for many soft sciences. Instead, they rely on observational studies in uncontrolled, often chaotic environments. To tease apart correlation from causation, they apply fancy math, like the regression analysis mentioned above. But this isn't a sufficient substitute for a highly controlled environment. Fourth, we have reproducibility. Having control over conditions allows experiments to be carefully repeated. A rigorous science is able to reproduce the same result over and over again. Multiple researchers on different continents, cities, or even planets should find the exact same results if they precisely duplicated the experimental conditions. Remember the controversy over faster-than-light neutrinos? Reproducible conditions allowed subsequent experiments to disprove this finding. Inaccurate results can be decisively and quickly removed from the canon of scientific truth. Fifth is reproducibility and testability. A rigorous science is able to make testable predictions. One of the most beautiful examples of this is the periodic table of elements. Dmitry Mendeleev, a Russian chemist, successfully predicted the properties of missing elements on the table. That is, elements that had not been discovered yet. While fields like economists and psychology might be able to explain existing behavior, they do not often do well in predicting future outcomes, if they dare to make predictions at all. Admittedly, this is a tough list, but it's supposed to be. The standard for rigorous science should be very high. Even some fields widely accepted as scientifically rigorous don't always measure up. Particle physics, most notably string theory, sometimes makes predictions that are not testable with modern technology. Epidemiology often cannot perform controlled experiments, both for reasons of ethics and practicality. Epidemiologists can't lock 20,000 people in a room for 20 years to determine if force-feeding them hot dogs will cause cancer. Instead, they rely on observational studies. So, what separates science from non-science? It's hard to say. There isn't a crystal-clear dividing line between the two. But what can be definitely said is this. A scientifically rigorous study will meet all or most of the above requirements, and a less rigorous study will meet few, if any, of those requirements. With all of this being said, I am so delighted and excited to have Scientist Mel come over to Johnny's channel. It should be a very interesting discussion. Johnny is so delighted himself, he's also hoping that Mel can help him determine whether or not Friended Forever's argument is based in hard or soft science.
Two nothings is nothing. That's mathematics, son. You can argue with me, but you can't argue with figures.
Yes, let's teach science.